Hey, what's up, Blue Collar Millionaires? We're here with Jennings Smith, good friend of Chris and I. He has a great story. He used to be a builder. Now he owns over 1,000 units. He's in the Dealmaker family with me, a mastermind. Jennings, welcome on.
Hey, Kevin. Appreciate you and Chris having me. I'm loving the movement you guys are creating with the Blue Collar Millionaire Group.
Man, we're just following your footsteps, brother.
Yeah.
That's right. Well,
so tell us.
A lot of what we're doing is based off my first family.
Good. I mean, it's a blueprint that works, but it's a lot of work, just like anything else.
Right.
Definitely.
So tell us what Kevin just mentioned that you were a builder and now you're in apartments. Tell us how you made that transition and what that looked like before you made the transition.
Yeah. So I was 19 years old. I got my builder's license. I went to college and I was building homes during the summer, like spec homes, rental homes with my dad. And by my senior year, I had built a couple of homes. And so that gave me the opportunity to build custom homes. People that could see my work and gave me a chance to build their home. And I did that until, the recession kind of whacked me pretty bad in 2009, 10, and went more into renovations. And that was a tough time where, I owed the IRS money, I owed credit cards money. My company was losing 50 grand a year, employees. I would literally go work all day and then go knock door to door and try to install those little peep sites. I could buy them for $5 at Home Depot and install them for $20 to make an extra $100. And that wasn't that long ago. That was just 12 years ago. And so, but I moved into more of the, custom homes and renovations as I got. Kevin's got some war going on in the background there. But I moved into that and I just kind of got burned out with it, really. I felt like I wasn't running my company well. I was controlled by my clients. I didn't have any way where I could scale it. I was the sales guy. I was the project manager. I wasn't physically doing the labor anymore, but I was doing a lot. And so about 5 or 6 years ago, a franchise approached me called Alair Homes. And the franchise, they had a lot of systems and processes and the way to scale a construction company and make it more valuable. And you had to pay a franchise fee and you had to pay royalties. And it was kind of a very odd way because typically, like with a franchise, it's a startup. They're partnering with existing builders and, bringing them into the Alair family. And so once I laid my ego aside, though, of this is my company and I'm the best builder and blah, 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 I realized they've got a pretty good mousetrap figured out. They've got CEO, CFO, they've got the software, they've got a process that works. I can be consistently profitable. I can have a project manager run the job from start to finish. Billings, collectibles, way better handle on my financials. And so I decided to join them. And yes, it made my company run better. But secondly, I got around like better people. I got around bigger thinkers. A guy he's got 150 franchises and he's 33 years old. He's a big thinker. The regional partner for my territory, he was a big thinker. He wasn't even a construction guy. And I partnered with him in the region, and then I started talking with other builders and bringing them into the Alair family. And that was really like a catalyst for self-development and learning and reading and making myself more valuable, making myself better. And that led into my multifamily journey, which is where I'm at now. And so I eventually sold off the company, went into multifamily full-time about 3.5 years ago, and have built the portfolio to where we are now, and it can sustain my family and my lifestyle full time. And I just didn't have a passion for working with housewives and doing that. And I really think the business that you choose matters. Like Blue Collar Millionaire, there's guys that are in businesses that, one, they suck because of they made them that way, right? They built them that way. But then there's other businesses that they don't have to suck. Like they can be a great field. They can be a great industry. There is scale there. There is the ability to do that. But with where I was going, I just didn't have a passion for construction anymore. And I wanted to do something different for better or for worse. But I was just ready for a change.
Do you feel like your construction background helps you in your due diligence and just in any area of your purchasing apartments?
Yeah, I would say it probably does, but not as much as you would think. Because when I first started, I thought, man, I'm going to renovate these myself. I'll hire the subs, and it ended up not going that way. We hired a management company, and they hired the contractors, and I kind of focused on getting the next deal, which was a much higher value. And now we're going through some issues where we weren't watching the construction as closely as I could. And I think somebody that's very detail oriented, understands spreadsheets and understands budgets and numbers can do just as well as me or better than somebody with a construction background. Right. I think that owning a business, right, and understanding how to negotiate, understanding how human nature works and putting those gates in place where you can hold people accountable, that's a lot more valuable skill than, oh, you know how to build. I think that holds people back. And the contractor in apartments is pretty low on the totem pole. I mean, you're talking replace flooring, repaint, new cabinets, countertops. Like, it's not like you're building these beautiful $1 million custom homes that really take skill. What we're doing, a $10,000 apartment turn, I mean, it looks like a $10,000 apartment turn. Like, it doesn't look that good. It doesn't. You don't have to be that good of a contractor to do it.
Yeah, I love that, because that means that you're relying. I'm glad you answered that way, because it shows that you can rely on team. You don't have to have a skill set to technically get in any type of industry or any type of business. You've got your own unique ability. And maybe that's just simply being able to build systems or manage people and set expectations, whatever the case is. But I think so many times we block ourselves from making a step into something that's really going to change our financial future because we say, well, we don't know enough, instead of saying who can we plug in and who can we leverage and partner up with. And I've seen you do that in multiple different areas of your life, not only back when you had your construction company. I didn't even know about that portion of it, but that was, you leaned in on a team when you did the franchise. Then I've heard your story about how you actually got into the multifamily and got your break into it. Can you tell us that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything that you do, I think you've got to think like, how do I scale this? You know, like Kevin, I know with his gutter business, he's looking to identify good installers and feed them leads, feed them work, right? So he can scale in that manner versus let me hire more employees, more overhead, more trucks, more whatever. Like, I love that he's thinking, how do I scale this in a responsible manner, in a profitable manner? And so I knew I wanted to have 1,000. I thought I wanted to have 1,000 houses, but I wanted 1,000 rental properties. And I looked at the math of like how long it would take me to acquire 1,000 single family homes and how much capital I'd have to have and how much down payments I'd have to have. And talking to my banker and people that kind of knew more than I did, they're like, dude, no, if you want to have a big portfolio, you don't do it that way. You have to go commercial. You're going to become just radioactive if you own 1,000 homes, and it's going to eat you alive. And so when I really did the math, and Grant Cardone's like, do the math. A lot of people just don't do the math. Like, it was like, oh wow, you're going to make $200 a month off of each rental home. You're going to need $30,000 down on each rental home. It was just, I'm going to be 150 years old before I get 1,000 rental homes. So I decided to find a different way, and that's when I bought an online course. Started studying multifamily and unlocked like, wow, you need money to buy this stuff, but it doesn't have to be your money, right? It can be other people's money, or you can buy stuff seller financed. You can buy stuff seller carryback. There's creative ways to do it. Those same principles translate to what you guys are doing with buying businesses, scaling businesses. Yep. And that was a real breakthrough for me because I knew that I could sell. Man, if you can sell a custom house, you can sell anything. Because a custom house is a hard sale. And So I knew I had some soft skills with that, and they would translate into raising capital. And so I did my due diligence. I read, I learned, I studied, and I studied for like 2 years. I sold my house. I mean, I committed. Like, I wanted to have the down payment to do it, and ended up finding a property that was a 12 unit. That was a great deal. Raised the $90K for the down payment. Got the seller financed me 70%, and got my first 12 unit. And in that one deal, I accomplished more than I had in the prior 5 years of buying like trailers and rental homes on my own. And that was like, whoa, holy cow. And I looked into the syndication model. I was like, well, you got to give away 70% of the deal, 80% of the deal. That's going to take a long time to build up. And I heard about Tim Bratz, right? And, oh, he's keeping 75% of the deal or 80% of the deal. Like, how's he doing that? So I went to his conference, and the only reason I did that was because of the franchise. Like, I had seen investing in myself, investing in people, getting in the right rooms, paying the money, because his conference was $5,000. I think you can do his conference for $500 now, which if you're watching it, that's a good deal.
It's incredible, yeah.
So we paid $5,000. Yaden and I went up there, and plus hotels, plus flights, and we met Tim, and we heard, okay, here's the process of how it works. And we had a deal we were looking at under our old model, and it didn't make sense because we weren't doing a heavy value add. We weren't going to refinance it. We ran it through that model, which is the BRR, raise rents by a couple $100 and invest in the renovations, and it did work. Then I got really excited. It's like, oh, wow, I got something that maybe works. And I met a guy who was connected to some wealthy individuals in the Northeast, and they were looking to buy in the Southeast, and he had a property under contract in Ravenel, which is right outside of my town, a big trailer park. So I'm like, yes, I'm making connections. And I was trying to hold back. Like, I didn't want to be like the Labrador retriever humping this guy's leg, but I was excited about that. So I played it cool and went back home. And it turned out that the deal was not quite in the parameters of what Tim wanted. He did not want to close that deal, unfortunately. So that was disappointing. But I kept working with the guys from the Northeast, and I walked the trailer park. I got a bid on paving it. I figured out if we could section off this part and sell it. I got the septic tanks, like how much would it cost to fix up these septic tanks and wells. And I found out, like, this is a bad deal. He is way overpaying for this. It's not worth anywhere near this, even with the seller financing he was getting. And I showed him all this data and underwriting and work that I, like, real value that I showed this dude up front, with no gain, right? I mean, the only way I would have gained is if we had closed the deal. So I'm really kind of shooting myself in the foot here. But I wanted to be transparent. Like, this isn't a good deal, dude. And he said, hey, I like the work that you did, and we're not going to do this deal, but I think I want to work with you. And I didn't really realize what that meant, because these guys were worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And I said, oh, really? Okay. Well, he's like, you got anything else? And I'm like, well, yeah, we're looking at this 19 or 18 unit. And he looked at the numbers real quick. He's like, yeah, we'll do that one. We'll bring the whole down payment. We'll get the loan done. I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, what about this deal? Tim didn't want it, but what do you think? He's like, oh, that's a great deal. We'll do that deal too. So he sponsored that deal, but he said, I'm not gonna bring the money for that one. You got to raise the money. I'll help you raise the money, but we got to raise the money for this deal. And that's another story, but that's kind of how we got going. So
I love that, man, because I've watched you with My First Million in multifamily lead with value, like and I'll get you to tell that story in a second. But what you did just then is you led with value, and you educated yourself, and then you took that education of what you knew and applied action behind it. And then you brought it to someone that could help you get even further down the road. But you brought value. And I think so many people just sit there and say, well, I have nothing to bring. And my answer is, well, find a skill set and learn something. You don't have to know the entire industry of it. Just get one skill set. If you answer a phone well, then bring that answering the phone well. If you can communicate well, then communicate to whoever he's got to communicate so you can find answers and bring value to the person you're wanting to partner with. And you've done that. And so I've seen you just told the story of how you did that, and that got you going in the multifamily. Where are you at now? How many units you have? Or maybe we should say how much net worth at this point do you have?
The portfolio is about 63 million in value.
Yeah.
So that's 1,000 apartments and 500 self-storage units. And I
how
own
long?
about 25% of that. Yaden owns about 25% of that. And yeah, we've got a 34 unit under contract, and we're working on a 245 unit that we're close on, but I don't know if it'll go or not. But
That's a year and a half it took you to get that?
to get to 1,015, yeah, about 2.5 years. 2.5 years.
Dude.
That's incredible. You know, one thing we passed over on that. You did such a good job on the underwriting and presenting to your partners that it stuck in his mind that he wanted to do business with you. I think that's really key, because I have so many people, they'll ask me if I want to partner or something, and they just send me like a biz buy sell thing.
Right.
Like, bro, do some work. I say like, hey, do you get the product? What? And like, they don't know it, but you kind of like that investor or person kind of like checks out on them at that point. We all know that they're not prepared, and you feel like, well, this is just how it's going to be. But I've had a couple people in particular, they're so prepared when they talk to me that I want to do business with them. If I don't do business on that deal, I'm like, I'm going to do business with them. This person makes it happen. That's real. I think that's really key. And that's why that happened for you.
And that's something that I work with people in the deal room a lot on, is with raising capital and meeting with investors, like understanding the psychology of a compelling pitch. And if you confuse, you lose, right? If you want someone to give you $100,000 or $1 million and you share a Dropbox folder with them and you think they're going to give you like $1 million, you're sorely mistaken. Like, they're busy. They've got all this stuff. They're not hunting, you're making them work to give you money. It's just like automatic no. Our brains are always looking for ways to say no and move on, right? And so you have to get beyond that, where you can grab their attention with a hook and you present it in like what's in it for them. You're mitigating the risk immediately. You're showing how it's a slam dunk deal. You're showing the team is amazing. Then you're talking about, the returns last, and getting that momentum going is so critical. And I think a lot of people do. They miss it because they're not willing to really know their product. And I'm guilty of that. We all are lazy.
We all done it, yeah.
Yeah, we want to make the money as easily as we can with doing the least amount of work. But the guys that really make the work or make the money are the ones that are excellent, right? They know, they bring the value. Like, you want to partner with, a half-ass heart surgeon, or you want to have that guy like doing he's the best in the world. Like, he's dedicated his whole life to heart surgery. That's who you want to be doing the operation on your daughter. It's like, you got to take your craft so seriously, and you know everything about it, that people just have to do that. And that's why people, join the deal room, join your group. It's not, there's so many Facebook groups out there that they suck. Like, no one's even moderating them. No one's keeping the spam out. No one's posting value. No one cares. And so if you just do what you're supposed to do, it's not that hard to build a community that really cares, because you're bringing the value.
So yeah, that's so key on the Facebook groups. Like your group, one thing that stuck out, I already knew you, but I was like, yeah, there's no crap in here. And it's like constant. It gets a lot of comments. It's good stuff. And I was getting notifications. I don't know if the Facebook algorithm figured out I like this group, but it seemed like it was popping up on my page. That made me more interested in commenting and getting on. And yeah, I was probably a member of like 40 other groups. I have no idea if I am a member of those groups anymore. It's like there's nothing going on them.
Right.
But it takes effort. You got to put posts up there. We all do that. You say like, hey, what can I offer some value? But that's so key. You got to offer value. People want to just, I see the pitches on Facebook for, investors. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes it's just like it looks like somebody wrote it on the back of a napkin while they were finishing up lunch, and they just they post it out there. You got to take your time with it. Persuade people, show them why it's a good deal. Otherwise, they're not going to do it.
And think about, your listeners. Your group is focused on, buying businesses and making your business more excellent. So you're either focused on your existing customers or new customers for the business you have, or partnering with a seller of a business to buy him out. And if he sees, you know, my industry, you have experience, you understand my business, you're structuring the deal in a way that makes sense to me and benefits me, you know, versus like, yeah, just blasting out LOIs or whatever. Hey, you want me to buy your business? I mean, that's a much more personal sale than even buying an apartment. But there's very few buyers. That's what I love about what you do, Kevin, is there's not many people that are vying to buy that guy's business. And so you can get really creative if you understand how to structure it.
Here's what I noticed when we went to Kyle Mallion's acquisitionpreneur in Nashville is all of the creative buying concepts that's done in real estate can be applied over in the businesses.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure it can be applied if we sit here and think about it in other areas as well. I mean, buying is buying and sellers are sellers, buyers are buyers. You've just got to know how to communicate with them. And I love the fact that it goes hand in hand. Heard somebody say, you know, our country was built, the wealth was built on business and real estate. That's how they used to measure wealth, you know, what business you have and what real estate you have. Now we've kind of gotten away and it's about how many stocks and bonds, mutual funds, and all this other mess you have. But really, if you get back to the core of it, it's business and real estate. If you look at the richest people that are around. So the fact that those concepts just wash back and forth, that's why I think it's important that even if you're focused right now on business, you do look into the real estate and you do at least find operators that you can partner with and put your money in with. And the same thing with the real estate guys, they'll be able to, because I've got cash flow. You would get over here and you get with other businesses and it just diversifies your portfolio of investments at that point. So let's talk about your My First Million in multifamily. Me and Kevin both, like we said earlier in the intro, we've kind of used your group as a model for the blue collar millionaire because we saw how it grew and how it was kind of a mecca for folks that wanted to build wealth, even if they'd never bought a property, any type of real estate in their life. And I believe the key to that success was the fact that you continually led with massive value and just you push that free line so far ahead, and so much was just given and given and given. So tell us what you feel like was that secret sauce. Is that it that brought you from one member to almost 30,000 or maybe over 30,000 now?
Yeah, you know, I think that the world is a big place. And if you bring your message to the people, there's going to be a demographic of people that like you and resonate with Chris, with Kevin. They like what you're doing. They like the way you're structuring it. As long as you're consistently bringing that message, and they want to be a part of something that is going somewhere, that's bigger than them, that's successful. There's so many groups, people's businesses, flash in the pan, right? They get excited, they have an idea, and 3 months later, you're like, oh yeah, what about that podcast you were going to do? What about that Facebook group you started? What about, I thought you were going to become like a real estate entrepreneur, and it's over. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are afraid to start too, because they know that they don't keep promises to themselves and they don't consistently do stuff. Yeah. But I think that in the beginning, it's like pushing a boulder uphill, because people don't trust you. They're like, are you here to stay? Do you have staying power? Are you going to consistently bring the value? And then they want to see like authenticity. I get a lot of comments, hey, you know, you're real, whatever that means. You're real. Yeah. You're telling your story. You're not afraid to embarrass yourself or tell us about the bad things you did or the mistakes that you made. You're going to tell us like for real, hey, I got this property and it's only making, $50 a month in cash flow per door. Like if you think that you're going to be making $100,000 a month owning a 100 unit, you're not, because you're going to have it all split up. Like I try to show people what they really want. I did a video, 42 unit, we're collecting $37,000 a month. Where does it all go?
It was a great video.
People are dying for that kind of information because they have no idea. And the gurus, they don't really want to tell you that because they want you to kind of think like, oh man, this guy must be making millions a month. And And we're not, right? We're not. Like, we're making Jennings in the future. 60-year-old Jennings is a pretty rich guy.
Yeah.
But, 39-year-old Jennings is building. And there is definitely some cash flow there. But trying to be authentic with that and not caring too much about, like, what are people going to think? And that was hard. I've grown a lot in just doing it. And I'm sure that as you guys grow and keep growing your group, there's people that will attack you or not like your message or whatever, or think you don't have the right motives, whatever that may be. And but pushing through, doing consistent shows. We did a Tuesday Q&A show, and we did a Wednesday, like, we interview somebody, like, teach something and interview somebody. Every week, half-an-hour shows, posting every day. I mean, Yaden and I have a KPI metric sheet that we check on, like, are we posting every day? Are we sharing the wins? Are we giving? I mean, that was another thing we gave. Instead of paying Facebook, I would say, hey, $100 giveaway. Invite 10 friends, and we're going to pick a winner on our show. And like 8 people would do it, and one of them would get $100. We would do this tip giveaway, like, we're going to give away $100 in random tips to servers. We gave away, I think, $10,000 or $20,000 in equity in our deals to just random people in our group. Cool. We just showed up over time. And there was a period where it was like we were gaining 50 to 80 to 100 people every single day.
Wow.
And now it's Facebook throttles you, I guess, because we're not doing anything different, and we're only getting, maybe 15 to 20 people a day now. But I like it, and I really like the deal room because it's given me a tribe of people that are serious. They want to devote time. They want to devote energy. Like, you're not going to build a portfolio half-assing it. And so there's a lot of people that just want to hang out in a Facebook group. There's other people that are like, this is my career. I want to do this. Yep. And it just depends on where they are in the journey. I don't judge them because I was there. I did nothing for 2 years. I just wanted to, like, learn and YouTube University and whatever. I wasn't ready. But when you commit and you are ready, now I have a product that I can help you with, and the same sort of journey. The deal room, when it started, really wasn't that good. It was kind of like, how much money can I collect for as little work as possible? And that is the wrong attitude. And that only lasted for a few months. And I'm like, if I really want to make this thing effective and get people results and feel good about taking the money in, I have got to, like, have a proven system where they can go from zero to deal in 6 months. And that's when we started developing the deal sprints. That's where we started giving them the course, giving them our full course, like $2,000. I don't need it. Just take the course because I want you to close deals, and I want to have Q&A calls with you. I want to have you an accountability team leader. And it started to just work. And so that once that started to work, people start putting social proof in the big group, and you don't have a problem making money anymore because your product works. And so I loved that, getting these messages like, dude, you changed my life. Dude, you changed the trajectory of my future. I just closed a 42 unit. I never would have done that. I just made a partnership. Like, they're building millions and millions of dollars in equity, and their retirements are set. It's like, I just gave them the gift of a $4 million IRA. Like,
it is.
I mean, I didn't do it. They did it. But you know what I'm saying? I was the catalyst and part of that. And it's fun. So
it completely changes their family's life in 20 years. It'll never be the same.
So one of the questions I always have when I get around performers like yourself is, Jennings, what are you all involved in?
Oh, Lord. Well, the core, the backbone that allows me to take any risks or do anything, like, on the side, stupid, is real estate. And so I've got the portfolio. I've got, I think, 2 or 3 rental homes. The rest are apartments, and then some self-storage. I have the deal room, which is my education product. It's my mentoring group. It's $400 a month, and we've got a couple hundred people in there. I've got a cryptocurrency we're launching in the deal room. So that is Deal Token. I kind of studied a lot about crypto and realized the only thing that gives these things value is the community. Yeah. And I'm already building a community. So why don't I build a token where I'm going to give it all away for free, and they're going to be able to redeem it for gear, for shirts, for deal room fees, for live events, conferences we're doing. So it'll have a tangible value, and it'll just build stickiness and more community. right? And it's just another way that I can give. And yes, it costs me money to do it. I don't care. It's part of it. And so that's something we're doing. And then we have, hang on a second. I'm getting a call here. We have a, hang on, you guys still there?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can see you.
There we go. Sorry. It puts on do not disturb. We have a fund that we just launched, Vegas Fund 1. So it's like a high risk fund, $5,000 minimum, $20,000 maximum. We won't let you put too much money in, but it's like a 50% per year return fund.
I like that.
So that's for your play money, right? Your Vegas money. So Nick and I are doing that, and which is the guy that I've been doing all the real estate with. And
what are you going to invest in that, in crypto or higher risk stuff?
Yeah, it's higher risk stuff. But I don't want to talk about it on this because it's a 506B fund. So, but Chris knows. He probably knows what it is. And the last thing we're doing is the social, right? So social, which I think is important and impactful for your listeners. In the future, your social credibility, your accounts is going to be just as important, if not more, as your bank accounts, your net worth, your ability to get a loan, because that is going to get you into doors that you wouldn't get into. That's going to get you conversations with more people. That's going to get you into deals, connections that you shouldn't even have, but you do because you have built this social machine. And so we're pushing on that. Like I have a podcast, 38 episodes now. It drops every week. We're posting on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram every single day, curated videos. We're pushing that because I want to have a larger audience so that I can bring opportunity to them and they can bring opportunity to me, right? If I know Kevin Marin and I come across something that I know Kevin Marin is looking for, and there's 100 people that know Kevin Marin, or there's 100,000 people that know Kevin Marin, Kevin's going to get a lot more exposure. And so I believe over the next 2 to 3 years, that will be the most important thing I do. It will outstrip everything I'm doing now. And so I'm just telling you insider information. I'm very focused on that. And I love that you guys are doing the same thing, right? Because you're helping people. You're building relationships. They're talking to you right now. They're having a one-way conversation. At the end of the show, they're going to know Chris, Kevin, and Jennings a little bit better. And maybe they'll resonate with us. And who knows what that'll lead into.
I agree.
Man, I think your biggest investment, because like the podcast, it costs money. Your time is worth money. So all the time you invest in the deal room, into the My First Million in multifamily, I see you making so much investment into your future self. And it lets me know that you truly do believe that the eyeballs are the currency. I heard Austin Rutherford say that. And I thought that is such a true statement, that eyeballs is currency, because there's so much opportunity that comes from them. Would you say that is your biggest investment that you make is into yourself and your future self?
Yeah, and it's frustrating and it's scary. I mean, I'm getting a little bit over the hump now as you start to see results, but you have to do it for a long time, and you're like, what am I doing? Like, I'm posting this stupid crap. Like I'm spending all this time going live and spending money on podcasts and podcast promotions and bookings and all this stuff that you have to do. And it's really difficult. And that's why I think it's so powerful, is because 99% of people will not do it. They won't. Just like 99% of people will never buy a business. They'll never buy an apartment complex. They'll never work for anybody else. And that's why there is the 1%, because they're willing to do what everyone else won't do. So I'm talking 2-3 years of grinding commitment to this before you see results. Like, who's willing to do that? Not many people. I am. I see where I'm going. I've been doing it really consistently since, the beginning of this year. So I'm only 9 months in. And obviously I had the Facebook group, but I'm talking about like posting, creating more content, professional content, and being more purpose driven with it. But I know that it will pay dividends where, like for the fund, Vegas fund, I literally did one post and we raised $250,000 in like 24 hours for $10,000 at a time.
Crazy.
Wow.
On something that I'm like, you're going to lose all your money in this. Don't invest in this. That was my pitch. So,
Yeah.
but that reach, and I mean, my reach is minuscule compared to guys that are just a few years ahead of me, but that's where I'm going. And then now I can bring so much value. Think about how much value I'll be able to bring to you or Chris or anybody else I want to connect with. Kevin's like, hey man, I need to get the word out. I'm doing a blue collar conference and you have 5 million followers. Do you mind promoting me on your channels? It's like, yeah, dude, Kevin's going to be like, Jennings did me a solid. I wonder how I can connect and help Jennings,
Absolutely.
And Kevin has done me solids. He's come to my events. He's supported me. He's been in my deal room. He's invested with my people in there. He's shown, like he's a giver. And that's when he asked me to do this show, I'm like, dude, absolutely. Yes. Anything I can do, I want to help. So, but having that platform makes you more of a giver. It's just like Mark Evans says, Kevin, where it's like, if you don't have any money, you can't help anybody. Like your sister is got cancer and she needs your help. Man, I really wish I could help you, but I can barely pay my bills. And that's where I feel like I really want to help somebody. And now I got the tool that I built to help them because I have a following, I have eyeballs, I have attention, and I can connect them with people that need it.
That's powerful stuff. That is so true. It is so powerful, social media right now.
And it's free.
That's exactly how I feel about you, Jennings. It's like you do me favors. I do. We don't even think about it. And that's why I'm happy to come out to that event and try to help anybody there, talk about anything. And then I met people, Travis, spinal surgeon, and he ended up at Acquisitionpreneur. Chris and I are talking to him right now about possibly doing something. I mean, you get around so many motivated, really good people.
Yeah. Travis, good guy.
Getting in the right community and the right influences. And that has been the theme through your entire story that you just told, Jennings, is it started in the construction company with that franchise. You got around big thinkers, the right influences, and you freaking took it and ran. And it's an incredible story to see where you've gotten now. But it's also even more incredible that you put so much action behind the hope that you got from these other individuals. It's like you took their belief system and started putting action behind it. And now you've surpassed so many people and you've got such a great following in a community that you're changing lives with. I mean, you're literally leaving a legacy behind with those efforts. So tell us what you're all involved in. Okay, you mentioned My First Million Multifamily. That's a free Facebook group that people can plug into if they're interested in getting into real estate and learning knowledge. And then where do we go from there?
Yeah, so the Facebook group is a great place to start. When anyone joins the Facebook group, I send them 5 free tools. I send them a deal calculator, deal analyzer. I send them how I raised 90 grand to close my first deal. I sent them a pitch deck on how like my exact pitch deck I used to close a 34 unit. You can just copy and paste it for your deal. I sent them a social media guide, how to raise money guide. I sent them these 5 tools over the first 5 days, and it's a great way to just sort of plug into the world of multifamily. Then I have people graduate into the deal room, and the deal room, we were pretty exclusive now. Like you have to already own rental real estate. Like if you don't own any rental properties or trailers or something, then I can't let you in the deal room. Or I will make an exception for people that own their own businesses. I'm looking for somebody that is got the intangible of they know how to get things done. They're a killer. They know what it takes. Because I've been frustrated where you see people say the right things. They can type up like on their application that you think they're going to do it, and they just don't. And I don't want people like that in the deal room because it just drags the whole thing down. So I've kind of raised the bar where, it's fairly affordable, $400 a month, but you have to have already shown me that you can win. And if you focus that beam to another avenue, you'll win there. Because there's some people that they don't have that beam. I hate to be rude, but it's like they just don't have the ability to focus and get things done. and do the work. So I want people that'll do the work. And I know that if they run their own business or they have already closed real estate, they just got to shift that focus, right? Same thing with what you guys are doing. Like they just got to shift that focus and they can acquire more businesses. They can scale. They can achieve more. They just need more knowledge and ability to just do it. So then after the deal room, that's as far as like the products I sell is it. Now we're doing a conference this February, in-person conference. We're capping at 100 people. I think we've already sold like 60 or 70 tickets in 3 or 4 days. So that's almost sold out. So if you want to come to my First Million in Multifamily Conference in Charleston, February 23rd to the 25th, it's $500. And we got speakers, Larry Hagner of the Dad Edge Alliance, #1 podcast for dads. I've hired Mike Aguilaro to come. So, I mean, we're blowing all the money on the speakers and making this thing amazing. We're doing a VIP dinner for 20 tickets, like a $1,000 ticket. And I think we've already sold like 15 or 16 of those. So there's 3 or 4 of those VIP tickets left. But love to connect with you at that conference as well. But then my podcast, like I'm working on that, Unlock Your Life. So Unlock Your Life is not about real estate. It's about the vision of what you guys are doing. What I'm doing is you can think on a different level, right? You don't have to be a slave to the grind. You don't have to clock in and do something that you hate. You can help more people. You can have a bigger impact, and the money will flow if we invest in ourselves first. It's just a lagging indicator. Like focusing on money, it doesn't work because that's just a receipt of you being a more valuable person to the marketplace. I'm not saying that money makes you a more valuable person. I'm just saying that the skills that you're providing are solving more difficult problems, and that's why the money's showing up.
Yep.
So focusing on building those skills is where it's at, and Unlock Your Life is changing your mindset about that sort of thing. And I'm really enjoying the podcast. I'm getting a lot of good feedback. We're getting about 2,000 or 3,000 downloads a week now on it.
Wow.
So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really.
I got to step my game up.
Jennings, when you talked about some people have the beam and others don't, why do you think that is? Do you think it's because some people can just zero in focus and they don't keep switching to new things and they just follow through month after month and then they get deals done either in real estate, business? Why do some people have it and others don't? Because I totally agree. It's true as well.
Well, I think I could rephrase. I think everybody has the beam, but they don't want it bad enough, right? They don't want it bad enough, or they're not in a bad enough position, a painful enough position to change, right? So the crap that they're living with in the situation that they don't like, whatever that is, like they're a slave to their business, or they're a slave to their job working for the man, or whatever it is, it's not painful enough to be like, put the stake in the ground, I'm done. And I went through that in 2010, where I'm going door to door and I'm going bankrupt and I think I'm going to lose my house and I'm in a rental and I'm like, I'm never going through this again. I don't care what I got to do, but I'm not going through this again. And that put me on a path of buying rental properties, seeking out better methods to run my business, which led me to be open to listening to what the Allaire franchise had, and then wanting to buy more rental properties, seeing the security of that. Like, I'm looking at my net worth. I'm like, dang, the only thing I have that's of any value in my life is real estate, right? These couple rentals I've bought, these trailers, my personal house, like my business could be just buying real estate. And I can make money buying real estate. I can make money selling real estate. I can make money raising capital, and I can buy as much as I possibly wanted to if I learn how to raise money and I bring value. So why would I not do that? But I got to, and now I'm like getting around these people. You hear, wow, if he can do it, I can do it. And you're unlocked with competition sort of, and just seeing where things can go. But I think that a lot of people, they're comfortable. They're comfortable. They've got enough money that it just buys their dream, right? Their dream is only worth this much, and that's what they're getting paid. And they sold out. I'm not going through the pain. I'm not going through the turmoil. I'm not going to handle the pressures and stresses of changing something major because I'm happy where I'm at. and that's okay, right? That is what it is. Not everybody's meant to do what we do, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I agree
I think
100%.
people, the pain has to be more than the pain of not doing anything. But when you look at your trajectory, you made some decisions and then you acted on them. Like you didn't want to deal, you said, with the housewives or just do the builder. You kind of over it. But a lot of people could have just stayed there. You were making money and you could have built houses and you could have been a great dad and did all that, but you decided, no, I'm going to do this. So you figured it all out. You made a plan. Then you wanted to buy real estate, but you didn't want to buy just a bunch of little houses. You said, hey, how do I learn about this and then implement it? Then you did that. Then you see an opportunity in social media. But the key was you were kind of like completing one thing at a time, or at least it was almost completed, from the sale of your business to buying the multifamilies to the social media. What I find is so many people, they're like all over the place. They're like, oh, I'm going to buy businesses. I'm going to buy storages. I'm going to be a social media. Like, just do one and go all in on it. And once it gets a lot of traction, if you see another opportunity, you can do it at the same time. I have to do it for myself. There's 50 things I feel like I could do.
Yep.
I got to pick 3.
Well, and if you look at what I've done this year, it isn't much as far as like I haven't acquired anything. I think we bought our last complex in November, December, and I bought a self-storage facility in like March. And it was because, one, the market was pretty hot, but 2, it was because I didn't have my house in order, right? I had 5 or 6 properties that were not running correctly. The expenses were out of line. And I needed to focus really hard on that and not focus on the fun thing, which is like, yeah, let's just go buy another property. Let's go raise money. And it was more like, no, let me get this right. Because I was starting to think like, oh man, maybe I need to do something besides real estate. This is frustrating. This is more work than I thought, et cetera, et cetera. I've got 1,000 units. I definitely don't want to do 3,000. And it was because I wasn't excellent at it. And I wasn't willing to be more excellent. I was just to the point where my skill level got me to right where I deserved. The money I was making, the amount of real estate I owned, the investors I had, that's where my skill level was. And I was like, yeah, let me do something else. Wrong move. Let me go deeper. Let me be better. Let me figure out. I found an asset management company to help me learn how to manage a 1,500 unit portfolio better. Let me like drill into these freaking reports and taxes and all this crap. And let me get it right, get my teams right, get it systems set up so that I can do 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 doors without blowing my brains out, and being completely overwhelmed and doing it badly. And so it is crucial to have your house in order before you go to the next thing. I mean, there's some things you can do, like everything I'm doing though is feeding into, right? The deal room is feeding into real estate. The cryptocurrency is feeding into the deal room. The social media is feeding into the deal room and real estate. Like everything I'm doing is feeding into that. It's in a silo.
Man.
Oh, good. This is great stuff, Jennings.
This has been solid stuff. I mean, I listen to his podcast, y'all. If you're watching this, if you're watching it after the fact and it's not live, go look up his podcast because it starts with mindset. He just told you a story. It started with mindset. If you get the right influences, then peer pressure is going to push you out of that average, ordinary person thought process so that you're going to grow, you're going to see increase, and then you really can make an impact on your family, on your friends, on your marketplace, because you never know when someone's going to need something and you need to be able to provide it. And if you can't provide for yourself, you definitely can't provide for someone else. Man, I appreciate you, Jennings. Great story, massive movement. I hope some of our viewers plug into what you got going on, because
put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll put all the links in the comments. And I just love the mindset, and it's proven itself. You got a track record to show.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for having me on the show. It's been great, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are doing. And yeah, we're closing in the next, 3 or 4 days, our first business deal. So I raised capital and partnered with some guys in an e-commerce pet not Amazon, but like pet store, emotional support animal company. And that was a real eye-opening experience. And I know my limitations, like I'm not a great business scaler. And so, but raising capital, partnering with them, getting a piece of the pie, and it fits right into my skill set of what I'm already doing. But I'm seeing, like, think bigger. I'm seeing the power of these businesses, the cash flow, and how you can scale to EBITDA and really generate value. It's huge. I mean, you guys are in a phenomenal field, but business and real estate. And honestly, I mean, I would say business is where most of the wealth is generated, created, is these companies and businesses. So
I love that combination: small business with massive cash flow, and then building wealth in real estate and having cash flow there. But you don't even need it. The money I make from real estate, I don't ever use it.
Yeah, well, send it to me. That's fine.
I save it, but I just don't use it.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right,
everybody.
guys.
Y'all see us next Tuesday. We'll have the links in for Jennings so y'all can connect with him.
All righty.
All right. Thanks.